Hello, welcome to a video on how to produce reports using the MoneyLedgers software program. And with this program, you can easily create reports that are fully dynamic to send to your accountant, bookkeeper, or for your own purposes. Let's take a look at the program and how we can do this. The file in front of us right now is just a test file we're going to use for displaying the features. And as you can see now, if you go across the top of the screen, you can see that all these filters, the date filter, account, class, category, they're all set to all. And so that means that all the entries right now are being displayed that we have in this test file. And if you look at the right hand side, you can see that right now we're on the record tab. But if you want to see the report, you go to the report tab and we can see a numeric report. On the left side, we see the total overall income and expenses, and then with business and also with personal. And if you have the tax version of the software, you'll have a tax column that's tracking your taxes on each of your transactions. If you scroll down to the bottom, you're also going to see a tax summary if you have the tax version. You're going to see a payment type summary showing how much you're spending with your different credit cards and bank accounts throughout the period. You can see if you got any receivables or payables, and that'll show up there. And also there's a reconciliation report that shows how many entries are unreconciled versus the total dollar value of the unreconciled entries. And to learn how to reconcile entries, you need to see our other video on reconciliations. On the right hand side, you're going to see a business only summary report showing just the business income and expense categories. And for the tax version, you're also going to see the tax part of those entries here. Then finally, we have the graph tab, and here you can see the income, expenses, and net income in a column format and also in a line format. And you can flip between them. You can also choose to uncheck those areas you don't want to see. So in this case, we're just looking at expenses, and you can see for the 3 months that we have of data, if you mouse over it, it'll show you the totals as well. So you can simply choose or unchoose these items here. Now, in terms of producing a report, you have a couple of options. You can choose to export the report by choosing the export button, and you can export it as a spreadsheet file or as a PDF document. And if you drop down that box, you can see that you can export the records, the reports in terms of all the reports, both personal and business, or just the business only report. So you have 3 options here. You can also print in a similar fashion the records, all the reports, or the business only reports, and also notes in this case. And if you remember the notes, that's the little button at the right corner. You can enter in different notes that you like in terms of remembering things about the file, making notations about the file, and you can print those later. Alright, so that's the basics of seeing the reports and producing reports. Now, how do you customize the reports? Now, the nice thing about the program is that it's fully dynamic, and the reporting feature is fully dynamic. So, for example, if I go to my filters and choose January and only viewing the January data, the report automatically reflects whatever I choose in my filters. So as you can see, I'm moving to February and the numbers have changed and so on. So this is how these filters work. I can also choose multi-layers. So if I want to see January checking account entries, that's how much I've spent in my checking account in January. You turn on both filters and you can layer it up as much as you want with these different boxes. And same with the graphs. They're also fully dynamic. So I can choose my month or choose the account or both, and it'll layer up accordingly on the report. And you can export and print that exactly that way. So if you want to produce a report that only gives you a report for January, then choose January. Then you can export it or print it, and it'll be exactly the way you see it on your screen. There's another way you can produce reports, which is very powerful. You can use this search button, and you can see it's there, the magnifying glass. So turn that on by clicking on it, and at the bottom you're now able to search by description field. So in our description field, you can look at keywords. For example, I've been entering the word ESSO each time I enter an ESSO receipt for gas. So in that case, I can type in a search word, choose search, and the data is filtered according to that search term in the description field. Now I can produce a report. I spent this much money on my SO with the SO vendor, and I can see it on the graph as well. So this is a very a powerful feature. So if you have anything that you want to see in terms of a report, make sure you're including a descriptor or a number of some kind or a reference number of some kind in the description field when you're making an entry, so that later you can enter in that descriptor or number or maybe vendor name and see a report on that particular item in that fashion. So that is a very powerful way to produce reports in a variety of layers and manners. So you can see with this reporting feature, you can produce hundreds of different reports, and you can simply set it up so it's useful for you. And that's really all there's to it. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found that video helpful.